the job does not choose itself. So, the Indiana Fever, I thought Mo Billings hitting a 3 was impressive. I liked seeing that. I liked seeing her pull that. But I'm going to be real here. I feel like it's not a crazy statement to make. This is not a crazy statement to make. The most important player on the Indiana Fever by a absolute mile, and I mean it, and by an absolute mile, is Aaliyah Boston.
The Indiana Fever closed out their preseason schedule with a commanding victory over the Nigerian national team, a result that was never really in doubt. While the opponent may not have offered the stiffest test, there were still enough individual performances throughout the game to generate genuine discussion heading into the regular season. One of the standout moments was Mo Billings connecting on a three-pointer, which was an encouraging sign. But the larger conversation coming out of this game centers on something more fundamental: which player is actually the most essential to this team's success? The answer, perhaps surprisingly to some, is not Caitlin Clark.
And by an absolute mile is Aaliyah Boston. Like, it's not even close. Like, I think their best player is Caitlin Clark, their best scorer is Kelsey Mitchell. The best player on the Indiana Fever by a country mile. So the most important player on this team is Aaliyah Boston. If this team is going to go to the finals, it's not because of organizational competency. It is because they looked into getting back-to-back number 1 overall picks in years where it really mattered. It's like the Aces. Like, the Las Vegas Aces are not a good organization.
The argument can be made that Aaliyah Boston is the single most important player on the Indiana Fever roster by a considerable margin. Clark is the best player on the team, Kelsey Mitchell is the best scorer, but Boston is the player the entire system depends on most. If this team advances deep into the postseason, it will have less to do with front office decision-making and more to do with the fortune of landing back-to-back number 1 overall picks at precisely the right moments, a situation not unlike what the Las Vegas Aces experienced when they built around A'ja Wilson. The Fever's depth at the big position becomes a real concern the moment Mo Billings is unavailable.
Vegas Aces are not a good organization. What they did was they got lucky enough to draft back-to-back number 1 overall picks, and then they pumped in money early. And you can see now with the way they're scouting and everything is, the Aces are not a well-run organization. They're not a well-run organization. The problem is with the Aces is that genuinely they're doing well because they employ A'ja Wilson. And the Indiana Fever are always going to be a good team. Not because of not because of their chat GPT, not because of their non-existent.
Damiris Dantas has not shown enough to inspire confidence against quality competition. The basic math on Dantas is stark. She would need to be shooting above 40% from 3 just to be a neutral presence on the floor. She does not screen effectively, does not protect the paint, does not roll hard, and does not contribute meaningfully on defense. During the preseason, she has shot just 25% from 3 on limited attempts.
Not because of their non-existent scouting, not because they believe that Damiris Dantas is a better option than Emma fucking Chekova, who would, no offense, would start for the Fever. And Mo Billings is hurt. They're fucked. Like, if Mo Billings is hurt, they're kind of fucked because, I'm sorry, Dantas against competent competition sucks. It's not even, Dantas just needs to play against international teams. Raven Johnson, again, what we're not going to do here is...
There are still awareness issues with Timpson, but there is something to work with. The gap between the two players in terms of motor and engagement with the game is significant. Caitlin Clark continued to look sharp, finishing with 12 points on just 4 field goal attempts. She got to the free throw line 4 times, knocked down her free throws, dished out 4 assists against 1 turnover, and posted a plus 3-2 for the game.
Johnson, again, what we're not going to do here is say one bad word about Raven Johnson. Like, I will, as someone who loves his role players, you know on this channel, I believe Phoebus is a top 15 player in the league. As someone who loves their role players, Raven Johnson, I will go to war to defend Raven Johnson as long as she's a member of this Fever team. Aaliyah Boston, fucking super player, absolutely super. Kelsey Mitchell just scores, and Sophie Cunningham, I'm glad she came.
Those numbers reflect a player operating efficiently and making smart decisions. The most intriguing development, though, is what Aaliyah Boston has become. The evolution in her game since 2024 has been striking. She was previously a back-to-the-basket player, but her entire approach has shifted.
And Sophie Cunningham, I'm glad she came. I really liked the three she shot in transition. I thought Caitlin looked really good again. Like 12 points on 4 shots. I think is impressive. It is impressive. Like, again, got to the line 4 times, hit her free throws, 4 assists to 1 turnover, plus 32. Like, one player I'm actually really impressed with, KK Timpson. This is from somebody who was extremely low on KK. I was extremely low on KK Timpson coming into this season because I thought KK Timpson was horrendous in Prague.
She is now operating face-up, engaging defenders on the perimeter, and showing a comfort level in pick-and-roll actions, including one sequence where Clark set the screen and curled out to an open 3 off Boston's Reed. That kind of play represents a meaningful transformation, and part of that credit belongs to the environment Clark has created around her. The comparison to Steph Curry's development under Steve Kerr is worth noting. The same player with similar raw numbers can become something altogether different in the right system with the right teammates around them. Raven Johnson continues to be one of the more underappreciated players on this roster.
Coming into this season because I thought KK Timpson was horrendous in Prague. And it's the reason why I was so angry at the Fever didn't get Chekova. I'm somebody who watched KK Timpson play for Prague. I watched one game in the Czech League and I literally said, I'm like, this is barely basketball. I don't care how she does in Czech League. I watched every single EuroLeague game she played, and I even watched the ones where she got 0 minutes. She looked completely lost, and KK, the level between gap between KK and Dantas is scary. Dantas is 100.
As a role player, she brings a level of reliability and defensive energy that deserves more recognition than it typically receives. Kelsey Mitchell just scores. That is what she does, and she does it consistently. Sophie Cunningham made a solid impression as well, particularly with a transition 3 that illustrated her value in a secondary scoring capacity. On the developmental contract side, the 3 players who saw time, Megan Connolly, Kiana Trahan, and Jessica Timmons, did not do enough to make a compelling case for a roster spot.
Is 100 times worse than KK. KK, there's energy there. Yes, I understand when it comes to KK Timpson, there is issues with her awareness. Like, awareness doesn't matter when you're Dantas, when you play with the motor of the first plane the Wright brothers tried to make, in comparison to you needing to have a fucking jet engine to play on this team.
Timmons has some shot-making ability that could develop over time, but currently takes too many dribbles before doing anything productive at this level. Trahan has not shown enough to compete for a position. Connolly is a disruptive defender but does not offer enough offensively to justify a spot when Raven Johnson already fills that defensive role more capably. There are stronger options available on developmental deals, players like Marta Suarez or Jordan Canada, who would represent better investments than any of the 3 currently in the mix.
Of the Caitlin Clark hand incident, in which Caitlin Clark literally clowned the Fever for putting right there, new hand alert, put what looks like a fake hand on the biggest star in women's basketball right here. I said the other day, they put the Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back mechanical hand right there on Caitlin Clark, and she called him out.
Ty Harris made her return, but it was her first game back, so drawing broad conclusions there would be premature. Hind Allen also saw time at the starting spot, though the sample was too limited to evaluate with any real confidence. A preseason win over Nigeria ultimately does not reveal much about where this team actually stands. The result matters less than the health of the roster heading into the regular season.
Strikes back mechanical hand right there on Caitlin Clark, and she called him out. And then we literally had the next day, you see this, Front Office Sports, Indiana Fever being accused of using AI again on social media just days after Caitlin Clark called it out. Right here on this post that everybody believes Grok probably generated at this point. Seriously. I mean, you want to talk about getting crushed? Annihilated.
If Mo Billings is dealing with something significant, the pressure on the power forward position increases considerably, and it is already one of the more unsettled areas on the entire team. The WNBA and artificial intelligence have become an unexpectedly frequent combination lately, and the backlash surrounding it has been growing. The situation with the Indiana Fever social media team using what appeared to be an AI-generated image of Caitlin Clark, complete with what Clark herself publicly pointed out looked like an artificial hand set off a chain of events. Clark called it out directly, and within days the Fever's front office was facing accusations of leaning on AI again for another post, widely believed to have been generated through Grok.
I mean, you want to talk about getting crushed? Annihilated. Annihilated. There's articles being wrote about this, folks, which is kind of shocking considering the way the WNBA media wants to protect every player and every team in this league. By the way, we got some YouTubers jumping into that these days. Oh, no. Said it out loud. Anyway, so we've got Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum is the first female pro athlete to launch an AI digital twin.
Articles were written about it, which itself felt notable given how protective the broader WNBA media landscape tends to be toward players and franchises in the league. On the player side, Kelsey Plum became the first professional female athlete to launch an AI digital twin. Then came Paige Bueckers. Fresh off a stretch that included watching Lauren Betts put in a dominant performance against the Dream, a showing many felt exposed questions about the decision-making behind the first overall pick in the draft. Bueckers proceeded to enter into a sponsorship arrangement with Google's Gemini AI, posting a promotional video on social media that showed her using the tool to find a restaurant in Los Angeles that served orange chicken and spicy edamame.
Twin. Okay. Well, Paige Bueckers. Fresh off of watching Lauren Betts dominate the Dream, fully exposing Paige Bueckers' girlfriend as a fraudulent #1 overall pick. I mean, guys, if you can't figure out why they took FUD at this point, if you do not know why
The clip featured Bueckers describing the experience as seamless and praising the recommendation before heading to Chin Chin in LA. The response from a vocal section of WNBA fans was swift and overwhelmingly negative. The comments that flooded in covered a wide range of grievances. Several criticized Bueckers for promoting a technology that, in their view, contributes to environmental damage through high energy consumption.
Oh, why that happened? You have not been paying attention to this league at all. Agenda. And now we got Paige Bueckers entering into some kind of a sponsorship deal with what looks like artificial intelligence. And she is getting obliterated, roasted, grilled.
Others raised concerns about AI's role in displacing workers, particularly in communities already facing economic pressure. One commenter pointed to the contrast between Bueckers previously using a public platform to advocate for Black women in sports and now promoting a technology described as harmful to those same communities. The tension between activist positioning and corporate sponsorship deals was a recurring theme across the criticism. Other responses leaned into humor, including a widely circulated exchange imagining Bueckers asking an AI chatbot how to perform at the level of Caitlin Clark, with the AI flatly responding that such a thing would not be possible.
Roasted, grilled, sautéed, stir-fried, broiled, boiled. I mean, cooked in fish grease. Selling her soul to Skynet. And boy, this has not gone over well. Let's watch whatever this is.
Apparently, Gemini knows my favorite foods.
Several commenters combined frustration with mockery, with phrases like AI slop appearing repeatedly throughout the replies. The speed with which Bueckers, someone who has cultivated a strong progressive public image, was turned on by the same audience that had previously supported her was a point of observation for many watching the reaction unfold. The broader pattern here reflects something consistently seen in online spaces, an expectation of ideological purity that almost no public figure can maintain indefinitely. Buchers fits a profile that would typically insulate a WNBA player from significant fan criticism, yet the AI sponsorship was enough to override that entirely.
Knows my favorite foods? I'm in LA right now and I want my usual, so let's see if Gemini really knows exactly what I want. I'm in the mood for some lunch. Where should I eat in LA based on what you know about me? Yeah, all these places look delicious, but there's this one that has orange chicken and spicy edamame. Let's go, that's the one. Sheesh. Wow, that looks amazing. Ooh, Gemini, you did it again. That right there is exactly what I needed. And I got spicy edamame too. Shout out Chin Chin in LA.
The core concerns driving the backlash AI's environmental footprint, its impact on employment, and the way it is used to generate and spread misleading content are legitimate in their own right. The ability of AI tools to fabricate convincing video and audio of real people saying and doing things they never did remains one of the more serious ongoing concerns with the technology. The separate issue of automation reducing available jobs for people who need them is another. Those criticisms exist independently of whether Paige Buchers accepted a sponsorship deal to recommend a restaurant through a chatbot.
That right there is exactly what I needed. And I got spicy edamame too. Shout out Chin Chin in LA. This is the most perfect meal. I love Gemini's rec this time. What do you think I should try next in LA?
My God. I'm keeping it real. You're not a man. There. I said it out loud. I said it out loud. What are they going to do? Cancel me? F these folks. Wow. Destroyed. I mean, destroyed. Ew. You're selling AI.